The story's name is Footprint. So, the first sentence of the story is: One day when I was going towards my foot, one day when I was going towards my boat, I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. I stood amazed. I listened. I looked around me. I could neither hear nor see anything. I went up higher to look down. I went up the shore and down the shore, but it was no good. I could find no other footprint but that one. I went to it again to see if there were any more footprints and to tell it it had been my imagination, but I was not mistaken. For there was exactly the print of a foot, toes, heel, every part of a foot. I could not imagine how it came here. So the first sentence is written here that one day when I was going towards my boat, I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. It is told through the sentences to us that uh, it is told through the sentences to us that there is a man, there is a poet. So one day he was going towards his own boat to the sea, and suddenly he became surprised to see a footprint on the sea of a man on the sand. So it is told through the sentences to us that uh, the poet was going to the beach, and while he was going towards his own boat, he was very much surprised. He was amazed to see a footprint on the sand. So the next sentence is written here that I stood amazed, I listened, I looked around me. It is told through the sentences to us that when he found a footprint on the sand, he was very much surprised, and he looked around him to see if there is anybody, but he could not see anyone. I could neither hear nor see anything. So it is told through the sentences to us that so when he looked around him, neither he hear when he looked around him, neither he heard or see anything. So I went up higher to look down. I went up higher to look down. I went up the shore and down the shore. It is told through the sentences to us that he looked. He I went up higher to look down. It is told through the sentences to us that he went up he went up higher to look down from the hill. I went up the shore and down the shore, and then he went down the shore. Then he came down the shore. So the next sentence is, but it was no good. And when he found nobody, so he thought that it is not good. I could find no other footprint but that one. It is told through the sentences to us that he went up higher to see down if there are more footprints like that, and he went down to the shore to see the footprints there must be, but he could find nothing other footprint except that one. I went to it again to see if there were any more footprint and to tell it had been my imagination. So he went up higher to the hill to see down if there are some footprints like that. So he could find nothing, and at last he thought that it was his imagination. It's not real. So but I was not mistaken, for there was exactly the print of a foot. It is told through the sentences to us that but the footprint he saw on the sand, it was real footprint. It was not his imagination. It was real footprint. So he was not mistaken actually when the footprint is real. So um, toes, heel, every part of a foot. There he saw on the footprint on the sand that there were toes, there were the heel of the foot. So every part of the foot there where he saw. I could not imagine how it came here, so he could not think that how the footprint came on the sand. So it is told through the paragraph to us that one day the poet went towards his own boat, towards his own boat. So after going somewhere to the boat, he was very much surprised. He was very much surprised because he saw a footprint on the sand. So he looked around to see, but he neither heard or saw anything or anyone. But he was amazed. So he thought that it's. So he went up the hill to sit down, and he came down to the shore, but he did not find any other footprints to match with that. So he thought that it is his imagination, there is nothing like that. But the footprint was real, so he was not mistaken about that. The footprint was real, but when he could not, but when he didn't find anybody on the sand, on the beach, on the shore, so he thought that it is his imagination, but it was no, but the footprint was real. So he looked around he looked around him, and he looked at here and there, but he could find nobody. So he was very much surprised to see the footprint. He thought that any other footprint will be somewhere, so he searched here and there, but he didn't find any other footprint. So he was very much surprised that how the footprint came on the sand.